WTF Kliff Kingsbury. Breaking news rolling in here that just ticks me the F off, grinds my gears. I don't know however else to possibly say this. But according to Adam Schefter, Kliff Kingsbury has withdrawn his name to be the Las Vegas Raiders offensive coordinator. Let that freaking sink in for a second. I'm sorry, man. That really ticks me the F off. Kliff, I don't know what the hell's going on here. There's going to be more information that ends up rolling in here around the Raiders, maybe around Kliff Kingsbury. But at this moment right now, I don't understand how a grown man can accept a job and then other coaches, remember, the Raiders, they hired Deshaun Foster to be a running back coach yesterday. So that means Deshaun Foster decided to take a job after you got hired, and now you're just going to potentially leave him out high to dry. I know that he's still going to be probably happy with this opportunity, but this is honestly Kliff Kingsbury doing some of that stuff without more information coming out is honestly like some Josh McDaniels bullshit. Like when McDaniels was ended up hired for the Indianapolis Colts, I know, I've heard all the stories about Irsay, this and that, but he took a job, people decided to uproot where they live, take another job, and go there, and now Kliff Kingsbury's going to say, well, I don't want to be the Raiders OC anymore. It's absolute BS. WTF, Kliff Kingsbury. And if you want to give me your one-word reaction right now, obviously, I am literally just hearing the news just like each and every one of y'all. I went live on the Raiders Report celebrating. I had a bunch of Raider fans celebrating the fact that we were able to finally hire an OC, somebody that has been linked to this team for quite some time. But now it has been officially reported again. Schefter said it, and the deal had not been signed, though both sides thought it was a formality. Raiders felt Kingsbury was the most creative of those that interviewed and were excited. That is from Vic Tafur from the Las Vegas Raiders of The Athletic. If you're always looking for Raiders news and rumors, man, I'll tell you this, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and I got to go back to saying this. When the Raiders do officially hire a OC, I will be live again on this channel, but you know, I don't really want to speculate of what the reasons were necessarily. I am going to speculate coming up here on this show, and I'll also go into some other potential OC candidates. Now, if I'm the Raiders that you got to potentially look at, and you got to say, all right, well, Kliff was our main guy that we wanted. You're going to have to look at some other different names here. But seriously, if you want more Raiders videos, news, I got you updated, even if I'm not a happy camper about it. Hit that subscribe button. So the next thing that we're going to talk about here now is where exactly the Raiders can decide to go for their next OC, because here's the issue, right? You had Kliff Kingsbury. He no longer wants the job. He's not going to be a part of it. You were also looking into bringing in Klint Kubiak. He was just hired by the New Orleans Saints just 2 days ago, or maybe it was a day ago. Your other candidate they had was Alex Van Pelt. Alex Van Pelt, he accepted a job with the New England Patriots. The next man up was Thad Lewis, that was an OC candidate. And right now, Thad Lewis might be your best shot. He's got more of a vertical passing attack, which, coming from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has some experience in that regard. But right now, yeah, I mean, he's still with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like, I don't know what the Raiders are going to do necessarily. It is a fickle mistress, I'll tell you that. The other candidate the Raiders have is Luke Getsy, but he freaking stinks. You better not bring him in. And then Mike Sullivan, who was the quarterback coach, I think, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he would be an even worse hire. Now, don't get me wrong. There were some potential secret OC candidates, and I put out a video earlier in the week about some of those names. Like, I'll tell you this right now. Chip Kelly would be... I know Chip Kelly's got a big name, and I know he's interviewed with some other jobs before. I would not love the hire of Chip. I think he had a certain offense. People figured it out. However, though, if the Raiders, which here's where I'm going to speculate, I'm almost wondering if Kliff said, I'm going to take the job if you guys figure out a way to go up and trade for somebody like a Caleb Williams, like a Jaden Daniels. Like, I want one of those top two quarterbacks. Now I'm almost sitting here wondering if the Raiders are like, that's not going to happen. So then, to me, if you're not going to go up and try to get one of those guys, like, do you try to get a Justin Fields? Are you going to really try to roll with Michael Penix or a Bo Nix? Like, that would be a disaster to me, those two quarterbacks in the draft. Like, to me, now I'm sitting here hoping that we can figure out a way to get Justin Fields here, and if that ends up happening, I don't want Luke Getsy. I will admit, I'd be curious to see what a Chip Kelly offense would potentially look like with Justin Fields, but what also scares me is how quickly the NFL figured out Chip Kelly, how quickly a bunch of organizations were able to figure him out. Yeah, in college it's a little bit different, but in the NFL, teams figured out Chip Kelly rather quickly. Some other secret OC candidates that I threw out there were Frank Reich. He was the number one candidate on my list just because he's got that player-coach mentality. And if I'm being honest, the number one guy that I would want the Raiders to bring in and be their offensive coordinator right now would be Frank Reich. He was previously the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Didn't get that job, but remember, Frank Reich wanted to have C.J. Stroud. He did not want Bryce Young. The reason why they went with Young was because of David Tepper, and that's another example of why when you have an owner that doesn't know what he's doing, it can really impact your overall ability. Also on top of that, though, Frank Reich was the head coach for the Indianapolis Colts from 2018 to 2022, who has a good relationship with Ed Dodds. I understand that Ed Dodds is not there and in the building, but I would imagine that maybe having some type of connection like that could lean Mark Davis into going a certain type of way. Another name that I'll throw out there is Hugh Jackson. And the reason why Hugh Jackson is because it's already been rumored that Jackson was going to be joining the Raiders team. He was currently with the Grambling State head football coach, I believe, for the last 2 years. But Hugh Jackson, I think, is another name that you are absolutely going to keep in mind. But if you were to ask me, Mitch, who do you think is the most likely to be the next Raiders OC? I might say Adam Gase, which scares the hell out of me. I mean, Adam Gase is an advisor right now for the Las Vegas Raiders. He was somebody that I threw in my OC candidate list, and I get nervous about that because Gase scares me. Like, Gase, to me, I don't know how good of a fit he would be with the Las Vegas Raiders, considering the fact that, to me, he doesn't seem like that player coach. He reminds me more of the old coaching staff that we had here. But he is somebody that is right now an advisor to Mark Davis and is somebody that Mark trusts a lot. But man, oh man, I do not know what I'm going to do. I think luckily the Senior Bowl is about to come up, so I'm going to go watch that because I'm in absolute shambles right now. I don't know if y'all can tell. So again, the breaking news here is it was expected that the Las Vegas Raiders were going to be hiring Kliff Kingsbury. It was more of a formality. It was going to be a done deal. Kliff now has notified Las Vegas that he is withdrawing himself to be the OC. My only thing that possibly can wrap my mind around it, again, is mere speculation of Kliff said, I want one of these few quarterbacks. The Raiders said it's not going to happen. I originally was confident that Las Vegas was going to be able to trade up and get their guy. Now I don't know if that's going to happen because now you're in a situation where all the other offensive coordinator candidates that you were going to bring in, they've taken other jobs, and the only three guys left available, I'm sorry, Thad Lewis, out of all the guys that you've already interviewed, that would be my pick. I don't want Luke Getsy. I do not want somebody like Mike Sullivan. To me, that would be an absolute freaking disaster. I'll take a breath. I'm going to go watch the Senior Bowl. Again, if any other news, rumors happens here around this situation with the Raiders, with their OC, I will be going live. But, Kliff, until we figure out what the hell happened, I'm disappointed, man. I am mad, and I'm disappointed that you bailed out. That's some Josh McDaniels stuff. Maybe more information ends up coming out, but it's a cowardly move as far as I'm concerned in my book. Absolute cowardly move. If you're looking for more videos around the Las Vegas Raiders, make sure you click that subscribe button right here. And then if you're looking for even more content, you can click this button right here, or you can click this button right here. Stay up to date on everything going on around the silver and black. Hopefully we hire an OC. Hopefully we get the ball moving because this is where the Raiders need to go. Get the offense moving.